It was a Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day that felt just like any other, until it wasn't. I remember sitting at my desk, staring at a screen filled with emails. Each email felt like a demand, a question, a problem to be solved. The phone buzzed incessantly beside me, a constant reminder of a world that never seemed to stop asking for more. A project deadline was looming. A difficult conversation was waiting. My chest tightened. My breath caught in my throat. A wave of heat washed over me. It was a cocktail of emotions. Anxiety about the future. We are often taught from a young age to categorize our emotions. Happiness is good. Sadness is bad. Calm is good. Anger is bad. We learn to suppress these so-called negative emotions. We hide them away as if they are shameful secrets. But what if we looked at it differently? What if this overwhelming wave wasn't a sign that we are broken, but a signal that we need to pause and listen to what our mind and body are trying to tell us? Think about the last time you felt this surge of emotion. A flash of anger when someone cut you off on the road. A knot of anxiety before a big presentation. A wave of fear when you heard some unsettling news. These experiences are universal threads that connect us all. They are part of the human condition. But I invite you to consider a different perspective. When a strong emotion like anger or anxiety hits, it can feel like a tidal wave. Our immediate instinct is often to react, to shout back, to run away, to get lost in a spiral of worried thoughts. This reaction is driven by the most primitive part of our brain, the amygdala, our emotional command center. The most powerful tool we have to interrupt this automatic reaction is the pause. Think of it like pressing the pause button on a movie. The action freezes, giving you a moment to see everything more clearly. When you feel that surge of anger after a disagreement, the pause is the conscious decision to not say the first thing that comes to your mind. When you feel a wave of anxiety before checking your work emails, the pause is the moment you take before opening your inbox. Take one slow, deep breath. Physically turn away for a few seconds. Take a sip of water, focusing on the cool liquid. Allow the initial intensity to subside so your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, can come back online. Practicing the pause is a skill that gets stronger with use. Once you have created that essential pause, the next step is to anchor yourself in the present moment. Our breath is the most powerful and accessible tool we have for this. When we are anxious or angry, our breathing often becomes shallow, rapid, and erratic, which only fuels the body's stress response. Slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for our rest and digest response. One of the simplest and most effective techniques is called box breathing. It's used by everyone from Navy SEALs to yoga practitioners. Imagine a square in your mind. Inhale slowly through your nose. Count 4. Hold. Count 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Count 4. Hold at the bottom. Count 4. Focus all your attention on the breath itself. Feel the air entering your nostrils. Notice the expansion of chest and belly. You can use this technique anywhere. A few rounds can lower your heart rate, reduce your blood pressure, and bring clarity to a clouded mind. You are breathing in peace, and with every exhale, you are breathing out the noise, the chaos, and the tension that was overwhelming you just moments before. Sometimes, even focusing on our breath can feel just too complicated. The mind is racing so fast that trying to follow a pattern seems impossible. Counting is actually a cognitive task. It requires a different part of your brain than the one hijacked by emotion. By deliberately engaging your logical mind with a simple task like counting, you divert mental resources away from the emotional firestorm. 1, 2, 3. As you count, focus on the numbers. Visualize them in your mind. Say them silently or whisper them under your breath. For many people, counting backwards from 10 or even 20 can be more effective since it requires slightly more concentration. Introducing numbers breaks that pattern. It's like changing the channel on a television that's stuck on a loud, distressing program. It lowers the emotional temperature so you can approach the situation with more calm and rationality. Rewriting your inner script. It's really the art of positive self-talk. Our emotions aren't just triggered by outside events. They're shaped by the stories we tell ourselves. When we're angry, our self-talk might be, "I can't believe they did that to me." This is always happening. Step 1. Become aware of your self-talk. When a strong emotion pops up, notice the thoughts that come with it. You might even write them down. Once you've identified a negative thought, start to question it and offer a more balanced, compassionate, realistic alternative. Example: I'm going to completely mess up this presentation. Ask, is that 100% true? Haven't I prepared for it? Create go-to calming phrases. This feeling is temporary. I can handle this. I am in control of my response. I can choose peace. Rewriting your inner script is like training a muscle. It feels awkward at first, but becomes automatic with consistent effort. You are building an inner ally who helps you face life's challenges with more resilience and peace. Speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement, building your inner sanctuary. Let's talk about the habit of journaling. It's a private, safe space for your thoughts and feelings. Think of your journal as a trusted friend. Start with a brain dump. When overwhelmed, open your journal and write whatever comes to mind. Don't worry about grammar or spelling. Let your anger pour onto the page. Describe your fears in detail. Unpack the layers of your anxiety. After writing, explore your feelings. Why did that comment make me so angry? What is the root of this fear? What is my anxiety trying to tell me right now? Use your journal to practice gratitude. Each night, write 3 things you're grateful for. Make journaling easy. You don't need a fancy notebook. 5 minutes a day is enough. Link journaling to an existing habit like morning coffee or right before bed. Over time, the journal becomes a sanctuary and a record of growth. The strength in connection. Let's talk about sharing your story. We are social beings. We're wired for connection. One of the bravest things you can do is reach out and share what you're going through with someone you trust. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the birthplace of connection and support. It could be a close friend, a family member, a partner, or a therapist. I'm feeling really anxious today. I'm struggling with anger about this situation. Hearing, that sounds really hard. I'm here for you, can lift an immense weight. When emotions are consistently overwhelming, seeking professional support is an act of strength. Remember, you don't have to carry the weight alone. The journey to inner peace is, well, just that, a journey. It's not a destination you arrive at one day. It's a continuous practice of returning to yourself with kindness and compassion. There will be days you handle stress with grace using the pause, the breath, the counting, the journaling, and the connection. On tough days, be gentle with yourself. Self-compassion is the foundation. You are human, imperfect. There's no pass or fail. You are larger than your emotions. You are the calm, steady sky. Your feelings are weather passing through. Your core of awareness is always there, waiting for you to return to it. Begin today with curiosity. Pick one small practice. Take 3 deep breaths when stressed. Write 1 sentence in a journal each night. Start small. Be consistent. It's not about becoming someone new. It's remembering the centered, compassionate, wise person you already are, right underneath the noise. That is a hopeful path forward.